Smitty's Fly Box, and we're just going to go over this month's beginner tying box, which is going to be our metalhead bugger. And it's an articulated woolly bugger, basically is all it is, with a metalhead on it for weight. So got a little guy right here, we'll put that on at the end. So let's go ahead and get started. We're just going to start here somewhere in the halfway point of our back hook of our trailer hitch system. These trailer hitches we've used before in the past. We like to use these quite a bit on all of our articulated patterns. Just creates really good movement in the fly. They hold up well, and they come in 3 different sizes. So the one you got in your box today was a size 10. Okay, so first off, basically just building the woolly bugger here. We're going to tie in our marabou tail. So I'm going to take a feather here from our pack, and I'm just going to measure it. So first we're just going to measure the length of the hook. I will make this one a little bit longer than traditional, just because these back hooks are a little bit shorter than your standard streamer hook. So I'm going to make that a little bit longer. And I'll tie that in right on top of the hook shank. I'm just going to bring my thread forward up the hook shank here, just to kind of help create some consistency in the body. So when we wrap our chenille, there's not a weird cliff or bump at the back. I'll trim out this marabou, what's left over, and then I'm gonna come in here and wrap that down really nice and tight and cover up all those tufts of marabou. And then next we're going to tie in our UV pearl crystal flash. I'm going to do 2 strands on each side of my tail. So I'll just take a strand here, I fold it in half, and then I just basically tie this in with that loop facing me, or sorry, facing towards the eye. I'll wrap that in, then you can position them however you need. I like to keep them right on the side of the tail, and then I'll trim it just to match the length of my tail, and then I'll do that on the opposite side as well. So this UV flash will give you a little extra flare on this fly than your standard pearl flash. Just again, make sure that your flash equals the length of your tail there. Looks like we're good. Okay, and then next we're going to tie in our copper wire for our ribbing to help secure the hackle in place. So I'll cut a length of that, and I'll tie that right against the side of the hook. One little trick with this, you can fold it back over itself just to kind of help add a little safety measure there so that wire won't pull free. Most of the time it doesn't anyways, but this little trick there. And then we're going to use our olive and purple flake crystal chenille. I like this color a lot. I think anybody who fishes bass as well will like this color too. So I'll cut a length of this, and what I like to do with my chenille when I'm tying my woolly buggers is I like to come in here and just grab that tip of that chenille and just pull it off, and just get that black cord right there exposed, and we'll just tie it in right there. That helps lessen the bulk on the fly. And we're just going to wrap this up the hook shank now. Just make sure you're covering up all your thread wraps so you don't see any of that red showing through. On this back fly, if you have a different thread color like an olive, you could use that here too. And then we'll bring our bobbin up and over. And tie that down. You can trim out the excess, and then we're ready to tie in our hackle. Okay, so with this one, with our olive strung hackle we have here, I'm going to strip off these little fuzzy fibers here at the bottom of the feather. We don't really need to use those. And I'm just going to cut or tie it in just by the stem here. So we're having the feather, the bottom of the feather is being tied in, so the tip of the feather should be facing towards your tail And we'll wrap that quill in, fold it back over itself just to help add some security there with that feather. And now all we're going to do is basically wrap it back to the tail. So I like to do one full wrap right in front of the eye and then start my way back, just keeping a nice even segmentation as I go. And then once I get back here to my wire, I'm just going to hold this feather straight up in the air and bring my wire around and over the top of it. So now that's secure and I can start wrapping my hackle or my wire through the hackle. And just kind of wiggle that wire through so you don't trap down your hackle fibers. You want those to be standing up nice and tall. We'll get up here to the thread and then we can anchor that down with our thread there. Make sure you cut out the excess from your hackle. Okay, and then we're going to fold back the remaining hackle we have up front here and just kind of build a little head. This will help push those fibers down. And there's the back half of our metalhead bugger. So we can go ahead and whip finish now. And then we're ready to add in our hitch from our trailer hitch system here. So I always make sure that bump on the hitch is facing down towards my desk. And just pull that up and through at an angle. Loosen my vise, and then you have that bump right there that'll fit into your vise there. You can adjust as needed on your vise. Put that in there nice and tight, and that back fly should just sit right there hanging out. So now basically we're just going to repeat those steps again. I'm going to clamp down this hitch portion here to make sure that it's not standing up. You can add a drop of super glue here at this point. And then we're just going to go ahead and repeat the steps again. So minus the crystal flash. I typically don't put any crystal flash in this midsection here. So I have my marabou. Basically what my marabou to do is cover up just that hitch portion there, that gap we have. So I'm going to kind of even let that marabou kind of fold down around the hook. Come up and over with a loose wrap, and then just start bringing my thread forward. And I'll do the same thing. I'm just going to create a nice equal layer of marabou there at my hook shank. And we'll trim it out. Now the only difference here is we're not going to wrap our chenille all the way up behind the eye. We want to leave a gap for our metalhead to sit on. So we're going to take our metalhead and just put it on there and just kind of give ourselves an idea of where that's going to sit. You have to think too, we're going to have some thread right in front of the metalhead, so you're going to want to watch that so you have enough room to leave some thread there. So I'm just going to leave that hanging there just for now. I'm going to tie in another piece of wire. Fold it back over itself. And then we're ready for the rest of our chenille. And now we can bring our thread up. So what I'll do is I'll bring my thread to right about there, just behind the metalhead. Then I can slip this off. So now I know where to stop my chenille and my wire, and where I'm going to tie in my hackle as well. So I'm going to wrap that chenille forward. I'm going to stop right there. Bring my bobbin up and over. Trim that guy out. Now we're ready for our last hackle piece. Again, we're going to tie our hackle in at the bottom of the feather, not from the tip. We'll anchor that right there. And I'm just going to build up a little bit of a thread dam here, just kind of something for that metal head that will sit on. I'll keep building that. And now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do a full wrap right in the front. And then as I go, you can kind of pick these fibers out to make them really stand up. This is a much longer feather than it was on the back, which is okay with me. Gives a nice big bushy profile up the front of the body. Hold that hackle with my left hand and bring that wire up and through, bringing it back towards the front of the fly. And then from there we can go ahead and tie that down. Make sure you cut out your excess here hanging out the back so you don't have a third tail. And then I'm just going to fold all this back. Okay, now I'm just going to build up a little bit of a thread dam here. All this is going to do is give us a seat to put that metal head on and add some super glue there. Slip that on there. So now I got enough room there up front that I can add some more thread here when we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and just add this a little bit more. And then I can go ahead and whip finish. Now we'll add our super glue. I just basically want to coat my thread. Just be careful not to get it back in your hackle. Create a nice mess. Add a nice bead of super glue there, and then I'm just going to go ahead and slip that on there. And now the thing, make sure that your metal head is straight. So I look at it from the top, look at it from the side. Just make sure your eyes are lined up with the side of the eye hook, of the eye of your hook, and then it's just centered on top there. So that's looks good to me. So now what we can do is go ahead and build our little thread dam right in front. This is why we like to use the red color on these. Just kind of adds a little bit of a kind of a hot spot here on the front, almost like the mouth of the fish is got a little injured fish or something like that, a little injured bait fish, but you can use any color of thread you really want. Make sure you get that thread tag tied down. And now I just want to make sure I build up that thread dam enough that it covers up that opening of the metal head so that head can't slip off if that glue eventually breaks down and falls apart. So then I'll just go ahead and add my whip finish here. It's super, you can see it's super easy to crowd your head and cover your eye up with thread here. So that's why we make sure we measure that correctly. I'm going to add just a little bit of a drop of super glue here. And now for the eyes. So this is kind of the tricky part with these, is just how do I keep my eyes from getting all gummed up with glue or UV glue. You can use any glue that you really like. I just like to do the Zap-A-Gap. I just basically come in here just nice and slow. I'm just going to add just a little drop right in the socket of the eye. And then I just bring my stick-on eye, just try to place that dead center in the eye there.